Let me go on my phone real quick. Check, check, check. Mic check, mic check, mic check. Check, check, check. Mic check, mic check, mic check. Is my volume good, y'all? My volume good, y'all. Y'all give me a second. I'm trying to invite some people in. Stop. Peace, Senate Lisa. Peace, ETM Hotel, Senate Monica. Peace, Quinetta, if I'm saying your name. Peace, Charles. Peace, bro, Mike Gang. ETM Hotel, Senate Monica. Peace, Quinetta, if I'm saying your name. Peace, Charles. Peace, bro, Mike Gang. ETM Hotel, Senate Monica. Peace, Quinetta, if I'm saying your name. Peace, Charles. Peace, bro, Mike Gang. I'm gonna have to let Sean when he get in here. He a member of 1,000 groups. So I'm gonna have to let him share the rest of them in the groups. I'm only in a few groups. Peace set Byron, peace Ben Note, peace Alfred, peace Sin Edmund Brown, Hotel Pursuit. I'm gonna get started in a minute. I'm just trying to let some more people get in here and sharing for a few more groups. T.O., you want to be called? Nah, I got you, Edmund. Let me invite a few more people, y'all. Give me just a second. Oh boy, I'm not even finna go through here. I was trying to invite some more people, but I'm not finna keep strolling down through here. Yeah. Peace, James Keys. Peace, King. What you saying, Sin now? You saying the family out there new to the information have been waiting for this about the Netcher? Yeah, I'm just gonna explain some things about the Netcher / the Netcherew. Many people just having misconceptions of what the Netcher / Netcherew is, or many people that is not up on African spirituality say that our ancestors worship many deities, which is incorrect, or we worship many gods, which is incorrect because they don't understand the culture and the tradition and understand the science. So it's gonna clear a few things up too. And as I say, you'll see why I say we are the Netcher, or we are the Netcherew as well. So we're gonna get it in a few minutes. You're trying to let a few more people get in here and trying to let Sin Sean get in here so he can share the video to a few more groups. Cause I share it to a few groups, but I'm not in a whole bunch of groups. So he in like 1,000 groups. I think Sin Monica, ain't you in 1,000 groups too? If you will share it, to a few more groups if you are. Peace, Queen Brianna, Pyramid. Peace, Auware, Donna Flannel. Yeah, you smiling, Sin Monica. Yeah, you in 1,000 groups too. Yeah. Ooh, yeah, you 1,000 groups. Yeah. I'm gonna premiere my new before I get started too. I'm gonna premiere my new appreciate it, send that. Appreciate for sharing. And anybody else that want to share the video, you can share the video too. And before we get started too, if you hadn't already, can we deal with the flags and the X interpretation? I'm gonna talk about it for a second. So yep, I'm gonna talk about it. We're gonna get it in with the flag and the X. We're gonna get it in. But those who hadn't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's Kofi Pieside TV. It's a bunch of content on the page. So please subscribe to it and hit the bell. So the bell to let you know when I get ready, because I'm not gonna go live like the last 11 or 12 PowerPoints. They've been live from Facebook. So I'm finna start doing a lot more stuff on my YouTube channel. So I'll just share the link in my Facebook page, and you can just go on my Facebook page. I mean, you can click on my Facebook page, click the link, and the link will take you straight to my YouTube channel. When I go live from there, you can, like I said, I got about 15 videos on there now, so you can go check out the videos if you missed some of the PowerPoints. I have about 12 PowerPoints. I think about 12 PowerPoints on there, and about 5 reading and sharing video where I pick up a book and I read and share from the book. But majority of it's gonna be PowerPoints and me and seeing peace, Chris Woods, me seeing Sean, and I saw in McCall did something Saturday. my first show going live on my YouTube channel. So check that out. We deal with a lot of books. We pull out a lot of books and talked about a lot of books that we feel like is an important and should be in every black household, and we discuss the books and everything. Uncle Giles Zaneb, Haru, Baguette, Peace, Dara Austin. So I guess I will go ahead. I was trying to wait to see a lot of press in the books. Oh, you checked out the presentation, Sin. And also go check out go subscribe to Dr. Oya Ma'at channel as well. It's Dr. Oya Oduwa Ma'at channel. I did something on there yesterday. We talked about the origins of Christmas and the psychological ramifications of celebrating Christmas, and we talked about the economics that is tied to the Christmas. So go check out that one too. It was a powerful build that we did yesterday. It's on Dr. Ma'at's channel, Dr. Oya Oduwa Ma'at channel. So check that video out as well that we did yesterday. And if you had subscribed to the Queen's channel, please subscribe to her channel as well. Please. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Before I get started, and this is the intro video to my YouTube channel. I'm introducing tonight, so every time I come on Facebook or I go live on my YouTube channel, this will be the video that's played.
Man in the full knowledge of himself is a superb and supreme creature of creation. When man becomes possessor of the knowledge of himself, he becomes master of his environment, the captain of his own ship, the director of his own destiny, the accomplisher of his own ends. Man should understand himself because man is full of knowledge, and this knowledge is a gift of nature. When Mother Nature created man, she deprived him of nothing. He was given the faculty of understanding all things around him. This faculty for understanding has not been taken away from him. None of his senses have been taken away from him. So there is no excuse for the black man. I'm bridging my team, red, black, and green, queens and kings, salute, now scream, I should, spring from another hit, I should, five victory. I'm ripping my team, red, black, and green, queens and kings, salute, now scream, I should, spring from another hit, I should, five victory, I should.
I just love that video. I hope y'all like it too. And I Am My Brother Keeper did the intro video for me. So if y'all need any work done, video work done, editing done, check out I Am My Brother's Keeper. He also gonna be on my YouTube channel hopefully this week. Appreciate it, set. Peace, Nanyamika. Peace, Josh. And Hotep, Any Aret, Sean, Calfunny. All right. The name of this presentation is called "What is the Netcher / Netcherew presentation." So I'm just gonna talk, about the Netcher and the Netcherew as I was talking earlier, but a lot of us don't understand. A lot of us that say we look to Kemet don't have an understanding of what the Netchers or the Netcherews is. Or when I say we are the Netcherews as well, or people say that our ancestors worship many gods and don't understand those different depictions of what they call deities on the wall, and our ancestors did not worship many gods. So we're gonna get into that. Appreciate it, Mike. I've been excited. I've been waiting on the intro all week, man. So appreciate it. All right, let's get started. All right, I always have to put a disclaimer out here before I get started. The disclaimer is I am not a teacher, but merely a student sharing information. That information provided is for educational purpose only. And if you are In doubt, do the research or have it verified by someone qualified. I reserve the right to change the focus of this presentation to shut down, sell, or change the terms of the use at my own discretion. All trademarks, designs, rights, copyrights, residents, names, motto, logos, avatars, insignias, and marks used or cited by these websites are the property of their respective owners. I reserve the right to add information as it comes available or adapt changes, improve information as it comes available in the future. Inputs wanted, changes, additions, deletions encouraged. This is my saying, and you just seen it in the video, in my intro video a lot of time. As I learn, we all learn. Be looking out for the t-shirts as well. This is a powerful statement. As I learn, we all learn. We should all, as we learn different things, we should learn and we should share with the family. This is the only way we'll be able to build and we'll be able to grow. As we learn, we share what we learn with the family. Peace, Maisha. All right. The ancient Egyptians believed in one creator who was self-produced, self-existing, immortal, invisible, eternal, omni, almighty, etc. This one creator was represented through functions and attributes of his or her or its domain. I use the word his, her, or its domain because I understand that we use most people use he. I understand why they say he, because we live in a patriotic system right now, and the people that is running this country is very patriarchal. That's why we say man is the head of the household. That's why we say man is this is a man's world. A man comes from the side of a woman's rib. So these are things that are to those who are actually running things now. But most of us, we lived off a patriotic system. So I don't like to use the word he at all, even though we should know that when we're talking about the creator, whatever you call the creator, we know that it's a story told behind the creator, and it's no such thing. The creator does not have a he. It's not a he, her. So I just like to use the word he, her, or it. Alafie, Cuban crisis. And also let me backtrack because I'm getting ahead of myself too, man. Fatmu Alafie, Fatmu Iwa Pele, which means bring forth peace and bring forth good character. I want everybody to bring forth good character in the chat. I want people to bring forth bring forth peace into the chat. So let's always practice peace amongst each other and always practice good character, because that is, again, for those who practice African spirituality, that is our foundation. We build good character. Our systems is based on good character. Also, I want to say dua aku, which means I thank or praise the ancestors, or Majube Odemare, Majube Oderan, Majube Egun, Majube Ibai, Egungun, Kiki, Egungun. So I just always want to give thanks and praise and reference to the ancestors and to the creator, because again, without our ancestors, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be nothing without our ancestors. So we always must give respect to our ancestors. So I just wanted to digress for a minute, because I usually open up with those things before I get started. So I want to continue to keep open up with that, so everybody in the chat continue to bring forth peace in the chat, so it won't be no chaos, confusion, no isfat going on in the chaos, and everybody has peace amongst each other. All right. So this one creator was represented through the functions of our attributes. Listen to what I'm saying. This one creator was represented through the functions and attributes of his, her, or its domain. These attributes was called the Netcherews. We ask, who is the creator? We are really asking, what is the creator? One can define the creator, or whom most call God, through the multitudes of his, her, or its attributes, qualities, powers, and actions. I'm going to read that again. One who defines the creator, for whom most call God, through the multitudes of his, her, or its attributes, qualities, powers, and actions. The creator is known by numerous qualities of the creator. The more we learn of these qualities, we knows as the Netcherews, the closer we get to our divine ordinance. And excuse the typos and the close, what's the name? I'm trying to hurry up and finish and edit the PowerPoint so I can get started and then have a chance to go back and preview some things. All right, I got over here, I got 3 different flags up here. And these 3 different flags, when we talk about the Netchers, we know that this flag represents the Netcher. So we had through 3 different periods, you had a different design of what the Netcher are. So let's get into those different flags of that symbol of the Netcher. Netcher is written with the Seshmeter signs, who normally forms is shown in figure A right here, because it has a rare point variant found in earlier periods, figure 1B. This is one right here. Champollion, some later Egyptologists interpret it as a X. So this is the one that we have a lot of talk about, where they talk about the X. So you had different forms of different symbols of the Netcher at different periods of time. And this is the one that has been talked about, B, as talked about as being an X and not a flag. And this is where a lot of people that talks about it being an X, this is where they get the information from. They get the information from Champollion. So if you don't know who Champollion, look Champollion up. He's a Egyptologist. He's one of the famous Egyptologists. Interpreted as a X, but the Egyptian X has a quite different appearance. That's right, because if you understand the sesh, that's why I say it's important to understand the language. So if you understand the language, when people come on and say certain things, then you will know that this is not a symbol. This is not a representation of an X, and you know what the X look like when you look in the sesh. So this is not a X. And again, this is where they get the X from Champollion, but it is 3 different flags. So I just wanted to bring that out, because a lot of people talk about the X and they don't, and then they talk about the X and we don't even know where they get the X from, or we don't even know about the 3 different forms of the flags at different points of different points in the Kemet dynasties. All right, but the Egyptians' X has been quite different appearance, and their handles are not wrapped around as a sign. And I should have put a picture of the X in there that's in the sesh, but I like I said, I was trying to hurry and get through with it. So for this reason, W.E.F. Petrie, which is another famous Egyptologist, correctly dismisses the identification as an X as early as the 1892, but some scholars still retain its decades later. The earliest forms of the sign, some of which goes back to the pre-dynastic period, and the types are illustrated in 1C. So this flag here of the symbol of the Netcher is in the pre-dynastic period. And again, as I said, they went through the symbols was different in different eras and times in the remnants of the Kemet culture. So, and probably shown a staff with streamers. The number of streamers, which are clearly separated as late as the 3rd dynasty, varies between 2 and 4. The signs does not reach its definition forms, figure A, until the Old Kingdom. So this is a representation of the Netcher flag that has been wrapped in the early dynastic period, or in the old dynastic period. So we know what the old dynastic period go up into the 7th dynasty. This form shows a strip of cloth instead of streamers. So these are the streamers that they was talking about on the flag. So this here does not have streamers. This form shows a strip of cloth instead of streamers. Carefully executed examples show that the entire staff is wrapped. And this flag that they demonstrated as an axe, it came later on during the early dynastic period as well. The figure B, this flag here. This symbol came to represent the word creator, and what the people call God or divine must have been a natural progression for the Egyptians. Examine the ritual slates palettes, a late prehistoric and early dynastic period, and you will see how the standards and the banners stood as an important iconograph for the beginning. Yes, those flags was outside of the Merkus, which is the pyramids. The pyramids are called the Meru. Excuse me, the Meru. All right, I have a picture here of nature, and I have a picture of nature right here, and I have the standard flag down here with Netcher at the bottom of it, and I have this picture of nature here. You have the sun, the sky, the clouds. You have the trees and the forestry in the background. The Netcher is the all, everything that the human mind can conceive is part of the Netcherew, and everything that is incomprehensible, invisible, and even conceivable is also parts of the Netcher. The Netcher is the plants, the air, the mountains, the cosmos, the smallest microorganism, the water, the heartbeat and thought, and even your dreams. The Netcher is all times, all space, and not yet existing time and space. This is also an aspect of the divine dichotomy. It is the infinite, infinite of all the infinite ones. The Netcher is nameless, hidden, formless, identifiableness, infinite consciousness, a self-existing, self-perpetuating force that creates energy. It is intangible. It is yet breath. It is yet breathes its life in all of us. It is pure consciousness. It is intelligence, underlining and supporting all matters of all existence. The Netcher is a parent / father and mother of existence. So did y'all get that? So y'all kind of getting the grasp of what the Netcher is. All right, the Netcherews. I have a picture of some of the Netcherews in here, and we're going to talk about some of the Netcherews up here at the top that's demonstrated. The Netcherews created cosmic forces of the Netchers, simple laws by which simple laws of the universe. The Netchers are power manifestations or expressions of the divine will of all the Netchers, of all the Netchers. The Netcherews cannot act independently of the will or order of the Netcher, because the Netcherews are only spiritual expressions of that order. And we all have different expressions. We all have different characteristics. We all have different traits. The Netcher is everything, and everything is a part of the Netcher. And I know we have been taught that we are above nature. And we have to understand the people that teach us that we are outside of nature or we are outside of the Creator. These are people that are teaching our babies in schools, and these are the people that don't understand. They came in and grasped our ancestors' concepts and then understand our spiritual systems and took fragments from our spiritual systems and created their own, but they didn't grasp the science behind our ancestors' system. So this is why they'll say God exists outside of us. This is why we'll say that we are superior to nature, when nature and us is one and the same, when us and the Creator is one and the same. All right, so we're gonna go into some of the Netchers, find out what some of these Netchers is. All right, Amen, Amen, and a lot of people that practice the Western, the Abrahamic faiths, they say amen at the end of their prayers and don't even know exactly what amen means or what is amen or what is amen. The hidden one, the almighty force, Amen was self-produced at the beginning of time, self-existence, almighty, the eternal force, who created all Netcherews and gave forms to all things. Amen is unknowable conditional self. Amen is unseen, the unseenable creative force that's a creative force that spirits animates in the universe. And it not only animates in the universe, it animates within us. Peace, Gregory Reed. Peace, Jador. I don't know what your last name, but peace, King. The oldest kingdom, Amen, was a local Netcher Waset. So each Netcherew had its own capital, and Waset was Amen's capital. In the Middle Kingdom, Nasut, which means king, because I'm using a lot of the terminology. I'm using a lot of the Netcher, the Kemet language here, because again, I understand the language. I can read the language, so it's very important to grasp back and reach and learn some type of African language, if not many. And same to you, Gregory Reed. All right. The Old Kingdom, Amen, was a local Netcher in Waset. In the Middle Kingdom, the suit of Waset. Later in the New Kingdom, Amen was combined with the Netcherew. Amen Ra. A lot of people hear me say that, especially when we in I give it up to Amen Ra. I say Hekanu in Amen Ra. So I'm giving honor and praises to Amen Ra, the hidden force, that creator, because we hadn't seen the creator, the unseen, the unseen force. And Ra, we're gonna get into Ra, that animated energy that that exists in all things. Amen Ra. The join represent animated power of creation. In human terms, Amen represents the spirit that animates the human body while living and breathing in life. So Amen exists in all of us. The creator of that spirit or that energy innates in all of us. We are one in the same. So I'm going to break down it into human terms too, because when I say we are the Netchers, we are the Netchers. Amen exists inside of us when you understand exactly what Amen is, what the creator and what Amen Ra is when we talk about that innate energy. Ra. Ra is the Netcherew of light and victory, a protection of the immeasurable power. He is the seen force of the universe, manifested by the sun and the symbol of the sun. So, and let me stop here. A lot of us, when we talk about Ra, we say Ra is the sun. Ra is not the sun or the sun disk. They have a name for the sun disk, which is called Aten. And I may touch on that a little bit, but Ra is the energy that emanates from the sun. He is not the sun. Sun used by described energy. Ra is in the fire of sunshine, the cries of falcons. The willful determines works of Kepra, the scarab. Like the sun, he keeps us warm, offer life, marks the cycle of day and night, months and years, centuries and the millenniums. So you will see, well, some people get into confusions and they'll say that we worshiping these deities, when I'm telling you that these deities, these images, they were told in stories. They are nothing but attributes of yourself. They're nothing but forces in the universes. They're nothing but forces of nature. And they are told in story formats and for you to understand these concepts, these forces in nature, these forces in the universe, these characteristics that presides in you. So our ancestors does not worship many deities, and they honor and revere the sun. So they're not worshiping the sun. They understand that the sun keeps us warm. The sun offers us life. The sun gives us vitamin C. The sun marks different cycles through night and day. We know what night and day is. The sun passes energy off to the food. It helps the food to grow. So without the sun, if the sun leave here, We out of here. The sun is the sustainer of the world. And I know a lot of you people have heard that the sun is the sustainer of the world. Those that deal with the three Western religions, they understand this terminology. We should understand these things too. So we understand, and we revere the sun because we understand if the sun leaves here, we out of here. We out of here. All the Nasus of Kemet in the Old Kingdom believed themselves to be the Sa-Ra, which is the son of Ra. The ancient Kemetu text known in the Lenti of Ra describes Ra as one, and listen to this. The ancient Kemetu text known in the Lentis of Ra describes Ra as one joint together, who comes out of his own member. The Lentis of Ra describes the democratic aspects of creative principles being recognized as the Netcherew, whose actions is iteration in terms of created the universe. As such, all the Kemetus who take part in creation process are aspects of Ra. There are 75 forms of Ra. So when you mention Ptah, when you mention Amun, when you mention when you mention Hekaru, when you mention Haset, when you mention Kanun, when you mention Happy, when you mention Dukmuktep, when you mention all these different forces in nature that was described in a story format to us, for us to get an understanding or understanding of what the forces of nature is and what the forces of the universe is and what is these characteristics inside of us. Ra is all those things. So Ra, when you mention Atum, you're talking about Ra. Ra has 75 forms. And in my book, I have this in the Lenti of Ra, and I'm going to come back and do another presentation from this, talking about the 75 forms of Ra, of me making a statement that Ra is every other force in nature that I'm talking about. And I'm going to show you the primary out of the tomb. I'm going to show you the primary out of the tomb, and then I'm going to show you the translation and the transliterations. So I'm going to read the text from out of the Lenti of Ra off of those two walls in the tomb, and that's very important. That's, again, I say that's very important for us to understand language. We have to get back into our own language. We have to stop letting other people speak for our ancestors when we need to speak for our own ancestors. They left everything. Our ancestors wrote on everything. They left everything in writing for us. So I'm going to come back and do something on the 75 forms of Ra. Ra is also incorporated into the names of other Netcherew, such as Amun-Ra, Ra-Atum, and Ra-Aketi. In human terms, Ra represents the ability to create. Creation can maneuver physical or both. The creative ability must be manifested in clearly demarcated stages. Basically, Ra represents diversity, and we all have different sides to us. So I'm trying to give you the human terms when I'm saying we are the Netchers as well. We all have different sides to us. Some of us got a loving side, and some of us have a loving and caring side. Some of us have a mean side. Some of us have a hateful side. We all invest these different diversities that make up our characteristics. So the Netchers are us as well, and Ra is energy, and energy is innate in us. Energy dwells in anything. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It can only be transferred from one state to the next. Ma'at. Ma'at was a personification of a physical and moral law of the universe, such as the 42 laws of Ma'at. And Ma'at and her complement, Jehuti, took part in creation of the world. Ma'at was called the daughter of Ra, or the eye of Ra. The principle of balance in life and in nature is called Ma'at. Everything must have balance. Everything must have order, family. Ma'at was the foundation of Kemet and was thought of as righteous, and excuse the typos, family. I was trying to get through with the presentation because I started, I stopped, I started, I stopped. I went back, took out some slides, went back, added some slides. So that's why I look a little sloppy and bunched together, because I said I was going to go on at 7, so I didn't have time to pre-through it. So excuse some of the typos and some of the words together. The principles of balance in life, in nature, is called Ma'at. Ma'at was the foundation of Kemet, and was thought of as righteous, justice, harmony, balance, order, and reciprocity. And without Ma'at, Isfat reign. And Isfat is chaos, reign unchecked. It was important for a person's heart to be as light as a feather and not weighed down with the guilt. So this is the ostrich feather. So everybody that understands the judgment scene, where your heart is being weighed on a scale, and your heart should be, and this is where you get the term, your heart should be light as a feather. And if you understand how things come into creation, for those that understand how things come into creation, if you look at the different demarcation stages of the world coming into existence, because we can actually explain how things came into existence. So we know it went through different stages. So we know at one time the universe was in a chaotic stage. It was in an Isfat stage. Isfat represents chaos. We know Ma'at represents order as well as harmony and balance. So Ma'at came into place and she created order. Ma'at represents the law of creation. In human terms, Ma'at represents the right thing to do. So when we know, okay, I shouldn't disrespect my mother, that is Ma'at. That is, you are Ma'at. You are doing the right thing by honoring and respecting your elders or respecting your mothers. So I'm trying to put them all in context in human form as well. Seshat. A lot of people sleeping on Seshat. Seshat says that everything in the is ordained by numbers. Creation begins when numbers begin. And I'm not ashamed to say it. You know, I'm a Mason. And when you look at the square and the compass and the G, a lot of people say the G stands for God. You know, you can say that, or the creator. We say G stands for geometry. Geometry is a sacred science. It is mathematics. And everything that we do, we walk, we speak, we are talking mathematics when we are doing those things, for those that understand what I'm saying. So it says creation begin when numbers begin. When it's possible to give something a name or origin. She is the female Netcher of the numbers, measurements, mathematics, letters, literature, mate, and Jehuti. She often shows a woman wearing a 7 palette flowers of her head, carrying a reed pen and a palette recording some deeds of eternity. Now, and you see in some cultures, they say that the female, and she's depicted as a female. So when we're talking about, and she's not a corporal being, we're talking about numbers. We're talking about measurements. We're talking about mathematics, letters, and literature that was took and put in an allegoric story as a woman. So we can, and told in these different stories for the layman, so we can get a better understanding. So we understand that we don't take things literally like some people do. And I'm not trying to bash anybody, but a lot of people that practice certain things, they take a lot of stuff literally instead of taking things they take things literally instead of taking it figuratively. And in certain cultures, it is said that the woman is the one who created numbers. They said one story deals with the menstrual cycle of a woman. The woman begins to start to count the days of her menstrual cycle, and this is how days or months or numbers were created by the woman because of her menstrual cycle. So these are some of the stories. So this is another reason why mathematics is depicted as a woman, is depicted as Seshat. She is a Nebet per Mejet, the lady of the house of the books. Nebjet means lady, per means house, Majet means book. So again, I'll be using a lot of the Kemet code. Appreciate it, St. Chris. So you'll see me losing a lot of the language, because again, we must go back and understand our language. And when people make accusations, we can go back and say, nah, it doesn't say that, because I can read and write the language. It does not have to be the Sekhmet or nTrw. You know, just find some type of African language and learn it. All right. The Netcher, okay, the lady of the house of books and the lady of letters, and the Netcher of the architecture. Because again, you can't build anything without what? Mathematics. You can't construct nothing without math. You have to know the diameters. You have to know the measurements, how long such and such is going to be. So she is also the Netcher of architecture. Because again, she represents mathematics. Of building constructions, and in the Duat, which is the underworld or the netherworld, she records the names of the deceased of her registers. These are the names Jehuti will declare before Wusir. And for those who understand the judgment scene and what goes on in the judgment scene, you will see. And I'll just say this about the judgment scene. The judgment, the people that practice these Western religions, this is where they get the concept of heaven from. You know, the different archangels of writing and recording things down in a book and etc. This is older than some of the texts. I'm just saying this is older than some of the texts that, you know, we flip through these books on. These things are still etched in stone today. All Shem priests and priestess were closely associated with the Netcher, Sachet, the recorder keeper, the great mathematician, the keeper of books in the sacred library, the keeper of time, astrology and astronomy, because you can't use those astrology or astronomy without mathematics. In human terms, Sachet represents the memory that is a huge reservoir of knowledge, experiences, events, traditions, past, history, and geological. So she is an aspect, a characteristic inside of you. She represents your memory. Aset is inside of you. She represents your memory as well. That's why I say the Netcher exists in all things. It exists in the universe. It exists in nature. It exists in us. It exists in and all things at the same time. In human terms, Sachet represents the memory. I mean, okay, I already went through that. Jehuti, the Netcher of good speech, intelligence, and wisdom. The scribe of the Netcher of the Netcher, the universal mind of balance. He is the Neb, which means Lord in the Netcher, or divine words, time, universal mind and balance of judge of Haru, and Satesh, which most knows as Set. Peace, Jehuti Asama. Yes, that's your name. So you learning about yourself today. Jehuti is self-produced, the heart of Ra. Your name got Ra in the well. And the tongue of Ptah. He was Jehuti, who spoke a sacred word which gave Ptah the energy necessary to affect the creation of the universe, which I talked about. This presentation is going to springboard my Ra document presentation, where we're going to go into the 75 forms of Ra, and I'm going to show you the primary and show you the translations and the transliterations on these two walls, or these two pillars, what we call the Linty of Ra, and show you that Ra is Jehuti as well. So, excuse me. But anyway, yeah, so I'm gonna do this is springboarding on my channel. If you hadn't subscribe, please go to my YouTube channel and subscribe to Kofi Paisai TV, because Sunday, me and Asa M. Akai, I don't know what time yet, is going to go on my channel, and I'll put the link in my Facebook page, and you can click the link, and the link will direct you straight to my YouTube channel, and we're going to talk about the cosmology in Kemet. We're going to talk about the different cosmologies of Kemet. There are different cosmologies dealing with these Netchers that we're going to go in on Sunday. And then I'll come back on Monday or Tuesday and do the 75 names of Ra. He is the Netcher of art and science, the Netcher of law, both in heaven and upon earth. He is the Neb Medu Netcher, which I told you Neb means Lord, Medu Netcher, divine words, Medu Netcher, words divine. He is the Lord of divine words. He the divine manifestation, writings, and articulation speech. So he is when we're speaking, our speech or articulated speech is Jehuti. Again, when we're writing, writing is Jehuti. So we're not talking about a corporal being with a Idibus head on it. We're talking about allegory story. We're talking about things that we created, and we're told in allegory stories. These were not people that actually walked the face of the earth. These are characteristics in nature, in the universe. These are characteristics that preside inside of you. So they're not walking things, and our ancestors wasn't worshiping many gods or deities, as some foolish people would say, because they don't understand their own culture. All right. The divine manifestation, writing and articulated writing, the recorder of time. Jehuti is the personification of learning, books, and libraries. And I have a plethora of books, walls, one wall full of books. I got Jehuti on it because he represents intelligence. So he is your intelligence as well. I'm not sure why this is so difficult to understand. Sis, I said, it is so difficult for people to understand. I'm trying to tell you it is. It is so difficult for people to understand and grasp. And I'm going to tell you why. Because, again, we have been indoctrinated. So, and a lot of us, we come out of the three Western, which we know there are more, there's over 4,500 religions. But when we talk about the three Western religions, it's Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. So we come from out of the Abrahamic faith. And we come from out of somebody else's culture, and their interpretation of things is different from our interpretations of things. TOC and Kofi, no problem. Sin. So the people that actually read the books, they take things literally. So when they say Jesus walked on water, they believed a man walked on water. They take it literally. When they say that Eve talked to a talking snake, and if I go outside and talk to a snake, it ain't gonna hold a conversation with me. But they're gonna believe that. They believe that a whale swallowed a whole man. And when you go do the math on the science on the whale can consume, but I think more than a handful. So how did he consume a whole whale? How did a whale consume a whole man? So the bush is on fire. And the bush is burning, but the bush does not burn down. And so we take things literally instead of taking things figuratively. So we have been indoctrinated to take things literally, so we don't understand what mythology or allegory is, because we have been indoctrinated through the Abrahamic faith. And again, you have to understand, this is the reason why they took science out of it. Hotep, Christopher Reed, Hotep, Satepin, Mary Amen. Hotep said. But anyway, Jehuti is sometimes represented as a baboon, a ibis crane bird, or with a man's body and an ibis bird head, wearing a crescent moon and a disc on his head. And I'm going to repeat that one more time. it was no man with an Idibus head or a baboon head walking the face of the planet. Again, Jehuti, when you write, that's Jehuti. When you're intelligence, we all possess intelligence, which is inside of us. That is intelligence. When we speak, that is Jehuti. That is another characteristic of us. That is Jehuti, articulated speech. In human terms, Jehuti represents the ability to do anything we want. Jehuti is the force that enables to transform each person's creative potential into an action reality. It represents the ability to sort it out differently, unlock the creative energy within. So when we have an ideal, we come creative. So we start to create the ideal, formulate the ideal from the mind first, and then we manifest that ideal. Because again, creativity comes from what? It comes from the right side of the brain. So when we create things, and then we manifest it. We create things and manifest it where we can see what we created. So if I want to build a house and I want to build a 3-story house and I want two garages, I want a sidewalk, and certain things, I manifested where I can see the things, so I create things. So Jehuti is a manifestation inside of us, that creative energy, which is the right side of the brain. Creativity comes from the right side of the brain. Ptah creates everything and brought out the Netcherews into being. Ptah is the Netcher, who is the great architect of the universe. Itef, which means father in the Kemet language. Of the beginning, I'm trying, Sean, begins. Itef where means grandfather. Netcherew, Ptah is the spark of life in all existence, of the neb of life. And again, neb means Lord. And then if we study things in life, or we study things on how things created, it says things was created by a spark. Whether you call it a big bang or whatever you call it, life was created by a spark. Or we know things, and we can say through stars, the spark of the stars, or the explosion of the stars created other things that created life. When we deal with the periodic table, those elements on the periodic table, all those 112 or 16 elements on the periodic table, what we made out of come out of stars. Without those stars exploding and bursting, we wouldn't be here neither, because those are demarcation stages of life as well. Also as water, because water is what? Water is what? H2O, hydrogen and oxygen, right? Hydrogen and oxygen come from the periodic table. Hydrogen and oxygen come from the bursting or the exploding of stars. That's why our ancestors said we come from the stars. We are star dust. So it's not being spooky. It's not being far-fetched. We can prove this scientifically. Ptah is the all-artist of all forms of construction, the patron of craftsmen, and those who create such a sculpture, artisan, engraver, a painter. He is the chief of peace. I am my brother keeper. Peace to you, sin. And this brother that's on now, this is the brother that did my intro video right here. So you need some work done, get at him. He's very, very, very talented. And I appreciate him. I ain't lying. I appreciate him. Neb, and that brother, this is the brother that I say is also going to be on my show in the next week or two also. The patron crafts and those who created such sculptures, artisan, engravers, painters. He is the chief worker in metal, but the great smelter, caster, and sculptor. As the master craftsman, he fashioned the Netcherews and made cities. He is the Netcher of Ptah, what we call Memphis, Egypt today. And again, I'm using terminology. I'm using the language of what these people actually call it and not what the foreigners call it. Ptah complements the mate of Sekhmet and their son Nefertim. Ptah is also the father of Atum. Ptah represents the manifestation of the cosmic words of Ra, as words by Jehuti is according with the laws of balance of equilibrium of Ma'at. So they are describing things coming into to creation as well. Because again, it says Jehuti also is what? The heart of Ra, and he is what? The tongue of Ptah. And we know things are created. It's even if you go back to to those that are in the faith, it says what? In the beginning was the word, right? And the word was with God, and God was the word. So we're talking about words. What are words? Words are spoken thoughts. So we can intertwine that all in with Jehuti. Therefore, Ptah sits enthroned and stands upon the pedestal, which is in form at the glyph of Ma'at. So you see Ptah sits on the platform of Ma'at right here. And this is his name right here, Ptah. Hold on, let me go back. Did I finish that? Oh, no, I didn't. All right. In the terms Ptah, in human terms, Ptah represents smith, i.e. the ability to take raw materials and rough ideals, carefully unlocking potentials to transform and form its wild, chaotic aspects into a organized, usual forms. So again, Ptah is in us. Ptah is the characteristic of us. It is said he is the ability to take raw material and rough ideals. Just like I am my brother Keeper. Me and him talked over the phone about ideals. The ideals was in a chaotic state because we were just bouncing ideals off of each other. And then we came up and we formulated an ideal. We had potential ideals, and we transformed those chaotic ideals into an organized form. And the organized form was my introduction. That was the ending product. So I'm just trying to give examples. So when I say that we are the Netchers and the Netchers exist in every and all things at the same time, you understand exactly what I'm talking about, because we are the Netchers as well. We are nature. And these characteristics, because again, the Netchers are nothing but natural forces in nature, in the universe, and characteristics that presides inside of us. So I got to keep reiterating. There were no such thing as these individuals actually walking the face of the earth. In other words, Ptah represents the ability to shape matter, thoughts, except the faculties to shape a diamond in the rough, so to speak, either physical, metaphysically, or both. Sekhmet. I met the real Sekhmet yesterday. Peace of Emperor Sekhmet, to a powerful sister too. That was my first time ever engaging in the conversation with her. And those that missed out yesterday, check out Dr. Oya Ma'at's channel, Dr. Oya Odawa Ma'at's channel, where me and her had a discussion yesterday on the origins of Christmas, economics tied into it, and the psychological ramifications of it. Well, there was a great discussions, and Empress Sekhmet, she came on at the closing of the show, and she gave out some powerful information, some stuff that I didn't even know, and that's what it's about, us learning from each other. That's why my phrase is, as I learn, we all learn. So we should take that motto and run with that motto. And I appreciate seeing Sean as well for doing, he understands, he grasps that. So when he learns things, he come on here and share information. So check out, continue to support that brother as well. Sean P. He's on here now. Any Red Sean Calfani. So I know y'all been checking out his presentation too. So keep the work up and keep supporting that brother as well. But back into Sekhmet. Sekhmet was a lioness Netcher, the personification of fierce destruction, heat of the sun. Her name literally means the powerful one. She also is a Netcher of war and the battle. And some of our ancestors will call upon Sekhmet
you know, to get that warrior energy going when we trying to go to battle. Who could both punity of death dealing. Sekhmet is the daughter of Ra, the consort of Ptah, and the mother of Nefertim. Sekhmet, Ptah, and Nefertim was a divine triad at Mennefer. And we're going to talk about some of the different triads at the end of the presentation too, because all we know of Aset, Asa, and Haru, but we don't know about the other different triads in other different regions in North Africa. So we'll talk about that real brief too. She was also associated with the Eye of Ra, Bas Het Haru. Her strength was legendary, and she was involved in all things involving healing to turn back plagues and infections. As the daughter of Ra, she is his protector, and she is one that I invoke, because again, she is also that protective energy. So if I wanted protection, I will invoke Sekhmet. I will want that protection energy energy around me. I will want to feel protection. Who goes out into the world to ward off Ra's enemy? She is the Lady of Red, the powerful female whose vengeance is terrible and swift, a great mother who shields her children from adversity with the fierce love of the lions. And if you don't know the story about Sekhmet, go read the story about Sekhmet, where she's the daughter of Ra, and Ra get disappointed with the world and sick Sekhmet on Ra, and she begins to start destroying everything, and she begins to have a thirst for Ra. A thirst for blood. So read that story. I forgot what it's called, but that's what it's talking about when she's saying she is the Lady of Red, the powerful female whose vengeance is terrible and swift, a great mother who shields her children from adversity with the fierce love of a lioness. Sekhmet also represents the aspect of the creative power. In the Lenti of Ra, it is described as one of the cats, as the great cat. And again, when I do my presentations on the 75 forms of Ra, I'm going to translate and show you the cat and where it says that it is the great cat. And I'm going to also translate Sekhmet, where I show you that Ra is Sekhmet as well. Sekhmet is one of the names, or one of the 75 names of Ra. In human terms, Sekhmet represents passion, which can be usable of destructive. As such, Sekhmet represents fearless power within. So she is that power, that fearless power within. And I know a lot of brothers that's in this chat, a lot of sisters that's in this chat is fearless. They is fearless when it comes to whatever it is that they are passionate about. They are fearless. And Sekhmet can also be a destructive force as well. So sometimes we can be destructive as well. Participate in destructive behavior as well, whether it's being destructive to ourselves, whether we practicing somebody else's culture, whether we indulging in alcohol, whether we're smoking cigarettes, whether we're doing all type of chemical drugs, where it's destroying our bodies and destroying our minds. Khnum is a ram-headed divinity. Khnum name literally means molder. He is divine potter of fashioning the world, the molder who creates man from the black clay of the earth on his potter's wheel. Where did some of these cultures get their story from? He is the builder of man, the maker of things, the creator of water of life. He is the father of fathers. Khnum was a Nahesi origin. And again, I'm going to use the terminology there. Ta-Nahesi or Ta-Seti is the place that we call Ethiopia, or we call Kash, or we call Kush, or we call Maru. But the people there call it Ta-Nahesi or call it Ta-Seti. So Ta-Seti comes from, Khnum comes from Ethiopia, if you want to use Ethiopia, or from Nubia, or from Maru, which we know the place is called Ta-Nehisi or Ta-Nehisi. So this is the origin of where Khnum comes from, not out of North Africa, Kemet, but he comes from out of that region of Africa. In human terms, Khnum is our ability to define the final goal in whatever we do. So it is the final goal in whatever it is we do. We set goals, we set the goals, and we go through the goals. We set goals, shape goals, and fulfill goals. Satesh, or Set, or Seth. People know him as Set, or Satesh, was originally a manifestation of blind force. And a lot of people associate Satesh or Set with as the devil, which is incorrect, because when you dealing with African, the African language, there is no such thing as a devil in the language. So when we're dealing with the aspect of what, because we all have different sides. We have a side where we can be good. We can have sides where we can be bad. So we understand, our ancestors understood duality, because good cannot exist without evil. Light cannot exist without darkness. Right cannot exist without left. Left cannot exist without right. Just cannot exist without unjust. One cannot exist without the other. So we understand plurality. So when we talk about Ma'at being in order and justice and reciprocity, it's something it's fact. And Seth represents that force. Hotep, Ra, Affair, Peace, Travis, Peace, Artie, Buckley, Happy Kwanzaa, TJ, Haru Bagani. In human terms, Satesh represents our opposition power within. The object is to know how to control. Hold on, I done skipped a whole bunch of stuff. He rules by might and force. Satesh was the sky by night, the downward motion. And even if you go back and you study Satesh too, we know Satesh did certain things against his brother Asa or Wusir. We know he did things. He was jealous of Wusir. This is the story, the allegory story that was told, that he did certain things to his brother because he was scared of his brother. So he did wicked things to his, to his brother. But it was also a story where you will see Satesh in the early dynasties, because we have to study the stories. We have to study the different dynasties and see when these different stories came into place in which dynasty, because you have so many different dynasties. You have the pre-dynastic period, you have the old dynasty, you have the first intermediate period, you have the middle dynasty after the intermediate period, then you have the second intermediate period, then you have the new dynasty, then you have a third intermediate. So you have to understand when these different stories came into place. And you can see at one time he was on the boat and he was, I think, defending Ra. You can see him with a pet. You know what I'm saying? Got the ride out, defending against pet in the dua. Those that understand the Neither World books, when you're dealing with the Book of Gates, or you dealing with the Amdawat, or you dealing with the Book of Soker, the Book of the Heavenly Cow. Those are some of the Neither World books. So you'll get some of these stories out of those texts, which came later on. And a lot of those stories that I'm talking about, they came during the middle, during the Middle Kingdom and the New Kingdom. And those was later stories that came later on. So we have to understand the different dynasties. The sky by night, downward motion of the sun. He was the third son of Gib, Nut, along with Wusir, Aset, Haru, Nebhet. Satesh was born on the third day of the holy 5 days above the years at the wrong time wrong place, by forcing his way through the womb which he made in his mother's side. Satesh or Seth complement was Nebet, the mother of nTrw. We'll talk about nTrw in a minute. And the old dynasty was a national Netcher of the Delta, and during the Hexo invasion, the king of Pepi made Satesh the greatest of all the Netchers during the dominance. And when I talk about the Hexo invasion, we're talking about one of the intermediate periods. So we're talking about a group of people that invaded Kemet, or invaded Tai Mahu and Tai Shamu, or invaded Lower Kemet. And they didn't invade and take over the entire region of North Africa, just one specific location. Well, these foreigners came in during the intermediate period. And these intermediate period revered Satesh and made him the greatest Netcher or Netcherew out of all the other Netchers that was there. So they revered him. But even going back, and you have to understand the stories. If you go back and look at the old kingdom, if Satesh wasn't bad in the old kingdom. You have some of the Nutsut Bitties, which means king or dual king, had some of the names. You know, you hear some of the names. They have the name Ra in their name. They have the man Minchu in their name. They have the name Amen in their name. They have the names Seti or in their name, or Set in their name as well. So Set wasn't always represented as a negative force, but we have to understand something too. Good cannot exist without evil, or good cannot exist without bad. Light cannot exist without darkness. One cannot exist. Female cannot exist without female. Female cannot exist without male. One cannot exist without the other. When you understand these things, in the old King dynasty was a national Netcher in the Delta during the Hexo invasion, and King Apep made Satesh the greatest of all the Netchers during his dominance. In human terms, Satesh Set of Sesh represents an oppositional power within. The object is to know how to control and manage these types of Satesh Set energies to strike balance between opposing forces. So this is a reason why I always say Famu Alafie, or I'll say ETM Hotep, and some of the other sisters say the same thing, which means ETM Hoteps mean bring in peace. Famu Alafie means bring forth peace. So we want to bring forth peace. We don't want chaos. We want Isfat into the chats or on the platforms where it begins. That chaotic state brings out that Satesh energy, that bad energy, that Itef energy. So when we're doing something where we consider to be bad, this is Satesh. This is a characteristic. So again, it was no such thing as this walking thing. This amalgamation of a crocodile and an anteater head amalgamation with a human body on it. It is a characteristic that we all have, different traits that we have. It is one of the forces. Bad and good is the same thing. One and the same. One cannot exist without the other. You got hot, you got cold. They are temperature. They are temperature. They are the same thing. One cannot exist without the other. In human terms, Satesh represents the opposition of power within. The object is to know how to control and manage these types of Satesh energies and to strike a balance between opposition forces. Some oppositions are self-improving obstacles and restrictions that needs to be overcome, such as lack confidence, peace and pool, ma'atra, etc. Others are the wild extreme aspects and emotions that requires restraints and tempering, such as passion, anger, jealousy, aloofness, temperance. So this is Satesh. These are the characteristics. These are the emotions that we have because we are emotional beings. So when you exemplify these types of emotions of anger, of jealous, we are talking about Satesh. So when I say the Netchers or us, this is what I'm talking about. And again, this hippopotamus and anteater amalgamation face in human body never walked the earth. Our ancestors told stories to explain the forces in the universe, the forces in nature, and the characteristic that dwells within us. That's right, one cannot exist without the other. nTrw is a jackal-headed mortician, Netcher, of mummification, of embalming. He embalmed the body of Wusir. Those who know the story about Wusir, we know he embalmed Wusir's body and swathed Wusir's body in a linen of woven by a set and Nethet, and resist the influence of time and decay. He guards the door of all halls of judgment of the Duat, again, which is the underworld, for the deceased, holding the title of opener of the way. I thought I put the session there. He is the guard of protector and the balance of judgment that presides over the weighing of the soul, which is the soul, the heart, before the soul is allowed to pass to the next world. In the text of Unis, line 70, he associated with the eye of Haru. His duty as a guide is the dead in the underworld on the way of Wusir, as well as defined. So when our ancestors looked at certain things in nature, because we understand that we are part of nature and we do not separate ourselves from nature or the creator, and we study things from the nature. And my presentation, what I did on the master builders in North Africa, if you hadn't looked at it, go to my YouTube channel, Kofi Paisa TV, and when you go on my channel, subscribe, hit the bell, and then go to the video of the PowerPoint Master Builders. I show you where our ancestors learned how to build from ants and termites. The termites was building in mud, so they show the different anteater mounds and the termites canals that they build up in mud. I show you the pictures of the mud mound. Our ancestors learned from things in nature, as well as they looked at the jackal or the dog in nature. They resembled nTrw as the deity of the deceased. What do we see? A dog, what? A dog protects. So he is the protector of the balance of judgment. When you go to the judgment scene, he is at the door. So this is why they have a jackal-headed man at the door, even though we know a jackal never existed. But I'm trying to give you context here. And even what does a dog do? What did he do? He dig, don't he? And after he dig, what he do? He buries. So this is why they chose the jackal to be, or the dog to be, the personification or the protector of those going through the judgment scene, of those who were deceased and finna get their heart weighed on the scales of Ma'at to see if their heart is lighter than a feather, to make sure that their heart is not overweighed with stress, with worries, with bearing, meaning that they have done things that they should have not done. A set, the nature of mothership and material of devotion, the divine mother of Haru, dutiful wife of Wusir, who assists his resurrection. She is the fore protector, Netcherew, guarding. And again, family, excuse the typos. Again, like I said, I was trying to hurry up and get through with the slides, and I didn't have a chance to proofread it because I was trying to start on time so I can get through and spend my last little day with my son before he leaves and go home. So Netcher, guarding the coffin of Masu Haru, Jar's sisters of Nebheru, Satesh, Haru, and Wusir, is also the daughter of Gib and Nut. She gives birth to the ruling line of powers that come forth to her son Haru and the powers of truth and balance on earth. So now I'm talking about her sisters. So and we're talking about Shu. We're gonna get into what Shu and Gib is, Nut, Noon. We're gonna get into all of that. So we're talking about creation because she's a Set is an aspect of creation. So we're going to get into that, but I'm not going to get in it today. You're going to have to go to my channel, and I'm going to keep plugging my channel. You're going to have to go to YouTube because it's not going to be on Facebook. You're going to go to my YouTube channel. You're going to have to subscribe to Kofi Paisai TV. Hit the bell. So when you hit the bell, so when me and I have a guest coming on my YouTube channel, Asar Imaka, and we're going to break down the 4 cosmology of Kemet. We're going to break down the creation story. We're going to break down each creation story, and we're going to break down the aspects of what these people had that we're talking about that deal in the creation of the cosmology of Kemet. And that I'll put that on my page earlier to let y'all know what time I'll be going live. And when I go live for my YouTube channel, I'll put the link in my Facebook page, and you can click the link in my Facebook page and it'll direct you straight over to my YouTube channel because it's not going to be on Facebook. And a lot of stuff I'm going to be doing on my YouTube channel, and I'm not going to be doing a lot of stuff on Facebook, but I will be doing some stuff on Facebook. All right. A Set is associated with the arts of healing and medicine. She is divine mother of whom we can turn in time of grief, and she offers warmth and ready sympathy for our tears. So she is the aspect of the mother characteristic as well, because we know our mothers are our doctors. We understand when we are sick, our mothers tend to us, our mothers heal us. You know, she goes out, you know, nowadays she goes out, she take us to the doctor gives us medicine, she gives us the medicine, she nourishes us back to health. Yes, and that you can post it in the chat, post it right here in the chat if you want to post it in the chat. So those that's in the chat right now, they can just click on the link and go ahead and subscribe right now. And go ahead and subscribe to the channel right now. Appreciate that. So she represents the mother characteristics as well. She is divine mother who we can turn into time in grief, and she offers warmth and ready sympathy for our tears. Her name means throne. You see the throne on her head right here. The throne. And I'm going to stop right here with the throne. All right. And which I'm going to do another presentation too, and it may be on Facebook and it may be on my channel, because I want people to subscribe to my channel. If I get enough people to subscribe to my channel, then I can keep doing stuff on Facebook, because I don't want to keep doing stuff on Facebook and not putting stuff on my Facebook page, because people be like, well, they ain't got to subscribe to my channel because I'm going to go live on Facebook and I'm going to do a presentation on Facebook, so I just wait till you go on Facebook to do something. But I'm going to do a presentation on the Nasut Biti, which means dual king. It is a neuter noun, meaning that a male or female can be a king. And the throne, when you see a depiction of a Set and you see a Sar or a Haru sitting on the lap of, and that a link is, family. So, well, y'all get out of here. Click the link. Please click the link. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell. You see a male is sitting on a woman. The woman is a representation of the throne. And in Kemet, in order for you to be the Nasut Biti, you had to marry a princess. And then she would turn over the throne to the king, and she would serve as your advisor. And we see this today. If we look today, what it says, we get counsel or we get advisement from our woman. Our woman will go to our woman, baby, what you think about this? Babe, what you think about that? And she advises, babe, I don't think you should do this and that. Oh, let me put you up on game on blase and blase. Our women are our advice. You know what I'm saying? And the woman represents wisdom. because we can see we can take a no good man and put him with a good woman, and that woman is going to give him that good counsel and direct him, and you will start to see what his brother didn't give, was disrespecting his mama. He started honoring his mama. He didn't want to work and provide. He's out there working now. You know, he walked around in rags. Now he got rags on. So I'm just trying to paint a picture, family. I already prescribed. Appreciate that. Ampu Ma'at Ra entering my name. I name myself a set. I am a mental health therapist, and I also interest in holistic healing. My name is divinely me. Facts. And that's what we have to get back to, because over here we'll name our kids all sorts of things, and our names don't mean nothing. But in our homeland, the people names is tied to their destiny. It's tied to their purpose. I talked about that in my African Rites of Passage presentation. For those that didn't look at it, the video, go to my YouTube channel, subscribe, and you can click on the African Rites of Passage PowerPoint, and I go with the first rites is the birth rites and the birthing of names, and I explain the birthing of names and how the name is tied to your destiny, is tied to your purpose, and every time you call that child name, that child will never forget what his destiny and his purpose is, why he's been manifested back on this plane of existence, so he can fulfill his mission or fulfill his purpose or fulfill his destiny. So check that out. That is something new. Teal King. King can be man or woman. That's a fact, King. And I'm gonna do a presentation on that. I'm gonna give which I posted that about 2 years ago. I posted on my Facebook page a line of Nasut biddies, and they weren't men. They was women. So we got to give. That's why I talk about the women a lot too. When I do presentations, I try to balance it out. Try to practice my art. We have to practice balance and stop always talking about the feminine energy. We have to, if we're gonna talk about the feminine energy, we got to talk about we always talk about the masculine energy. So we talk about the masculine energy, we got to talk about the feminine energy too, because again, one cannot exist without the other. You were saying that's something new. What's new, TJ? I need to clear something up for you, Sin. Oh, okay. Her name, throne, sometimes worn on her head. She is Kemet, the great wife. So Kemet. So you'll hear me sometimes, like if somebody might comment on my page, I might say Kemet Nasut, or I may say Kemet, and Kemet means queen. Kemet Nasut also means queen, or Kemet Nasut means wife of the king. Means great. And I know with our writings what adjective is always in front of the noun. But when you understand the language in other different languages are the same thing, the adjectives, the pronouns, and etc. is behind the noun. So Kemet the great wife. In human terms, a set represents the principle of legitimacy, the constitutions, etc. The female principle of nature in all of us, males and females. We all have to be receptible, which is feminine aspect of nature. We have to begin to respect that feminine energy, that feminine nature. We have to get out of this patriotic system where we say, again, man is the head of the damn household. This is a damn man's world. We get this from the very people that oppress us. And when you go and study the people that kidnapped our ancestors and brought them here, you will see how they beat their wives. You will see how they rape their wives. Even if you go up today and you look at the early 1800s, you will see that when the women's right, I can't remember what the women's right movement was called, you could see them, the white women was protesting against their white men because they was being treated bad. We come from a matriarchal system where we revered the women. We understood that the women was our twins. We understood one cannot exist without the other. We don't use the terminology God is above man and man. God is above man and man is above woman. The woman bit the forbidden fruit, so we in sin. So when you use this dangerous rhetoric, we begin to treat our women these type of way because we've been indoctrinated by this different rhetoric that we are in sin because of a woman talking to a talking snake. Or the woman comes from a rib which is not scientifically. Or God is above man and man is above woman. This is a man's world. The man is the head of the household. So we have adopted somebody else's culture. And we treat our women like the very people that are oppressing us today and have oppressed our ancestors and kidnapped our ancestors. That's why we have to return to our culture. That's why yesterday on the show with Dr. Mahat, we talked about the psychological ramifications of not adapting to your own culture and not understanding who you are and where you come from. Maternal devotion, friendly and tenderness. And again, she represents that motherly energy. So we know again that our mother are our healers. I tell people all the time, my mother was my God. When I know I came from out the triple darkness of the womb of my mother, I know I was birthed through the waters and through the darkness of my mother. I know when I needed attention, my mama came to my knee. I know when I was sick, my mama nourished me back to health. I know my mother taught me how to read. I know my mother taught me how to identify with the opposite sex with her was with my father. Our ability to search for truth. Wusir is the manifestation of truth. So she is the ability to search for truth. So when we're seeking out and we're seeking and searching for truth, that is a set also. And Wusir is the manifestation of that truth. Nebhet, she is the great help. The sociable is part of peace. Brianna, priest Azaz, I know you just came back into the chat. Peace, Calvin. Everybody come in the chat. Speak to you. You know, if you know you don't want me to speak to you, you might not want to come in the chat. Because sometimes people come in the chat. Because I done had a few people come in the chat as far as preachers. And a lot of the preachers come into the chat. You know, they trying to get some information too. You know what I'm saying? And they coming in and they don't want nobody to know that they in the chats. So if you don't want to, you know, you don't want to be in the chat, you know, just give me a shot. Just call me, inbox me, and we can build over the phone. Or if I'm close to you, we can go build and we can talk about information. Because whether you know it or not, a lot of those also where they trying to find themselves too. They'll question a lot of things too. But we understand something too. We understand that the Abrahamic faith, we understand now the three Western religion, it is a business. So these individuals have to keep portraying a certain thing and doing certain things because of it is a revenue stream. It is an economic stream of revenue for them to support their family with. But we're going to have to get out of that too, fam. We're going to have to get out of it. Nebhet represents, hold on. Nebhet she is the great help. The sociable is part of harmony, peace, and love. She is the daughter of the Netcher, Gib, and Nut, the wife of Satesh, the sister of Asar, and Aset, and Haru, Her color is green. The lotus flower are her sacred symbols. She is the guardian, along with Happy of lungs. So Happy here, we talk not the Happy because we know when we talk about the Nile Valley, we know that our ancestors call it the Happy Eritus. So again, we have to understand and go back into our language and stop letting people tell us what our ancestors are saying when they left everything in writing. And we can go back to the land right now because they have wrote and built everything that they have built, they have wrote on. And we just have to go back and study the language, those different languages, so we can let the ancestors speak and stop letting people interpretate what our ancestors are saying and taking what our ancestors out of context. She is the guardian along with the Happy of lungs. And Happy here, we're talking about Haru. We're talking about Haru's son. Haru had 4 sons. Haru of lungs, the air element. So we're still talking again the Netchers. The Netchers. Hold on one second. Hey, son. Hey, hello. You want to talk to Bryson real quick? I'm live. I'm gonna have to call you back. I'll let Bryson get the phone. Hold on one second. Son, excuse me, y'all. Son, come get the phone. It's sitting up here. Hurry up. All right, I'm back. All right. So Nebhet, their phone is. Nebhet represents the high moral qualities, true nobility. Nebhet means golden, noblest, mistress. A true Nebhet means golden, noblest, mistress, qualities, true noblest. Nebhet means, oh shoot, I keep reading it. I'm sorry, y'all. She aids her sister in a set in the collective cut of pieces of Wusir and protect the deceased. So you understand, if you understand the story of Osar, you know that his brother Satesh went against him, and his brother Satesh did wicked things to him. And we know at the end his brother Satesh cut him up and then scattered his pieces abroad. And his sister is the one that went and aided. You know what I'm saying? She went and helped. So Satesh represents that, represents help. So anytime we are helping anybody, we are talking about that characteristic of help, or the characteristic of being concerned and being compassionate towards somebody else. We're talking about Nebhet. So this is a characteristic which presides in us. So Nebhet exists in us. The Nebhet, in human terms, Nebhet represents what it means to be a lady regal. In ancient Kemet, the woman was called the lady of the house. Yes, she was called the lady of the house. Nipper. She represents the companionship, the rock that always there for your total trust, comfort, and support. And I just explained that. She is a characteristic of us. When we show that trustworthy feeling, we show we show compassion, or try to comfort someone, tries to help someone. Nut. This is Nut right here. Nut. We're gonna see what Nut is. And you see the stars on Nut. Nut, who is it? No, don't answer the phone, son. Talk to your mom. Nut, who is a personification of the sky or the livable atmosphere. So we know there was no such thing as a woman, a blue woman, or a woman black, which we represents the universe, or the sky, which is blue, or the universe, which is black with the stars. We're talking about the universe. She represents the universe. She represents atmosphere. She represents the sky. So the sky or the universe, 2 hours and count. Wow, I'm about done. I'm about done. So she represents. Dang, I didn't think I was on here that long. But I'm finna get ready to get off here. I'm about through with my last few slides. The Netcher, man, they long. I didn't even put all the Netcherews on here. But so there was a story, allegory stories told in a female aspect. And when you understand the birthing, it says in all texts, even though they deal with the rest of Western religion, it says what the body returns to the earth and the spirit goes back from whence it came. So we know the spirit was coming from the universe or coming from the heaven. So your spirit or your ka and your ba, or that energy, is being birthed throughout the wombs of the heavens, which they made an allegoric story of a woman, because when we look at nature, all female animals give birth, bring life. All females, Homo sapiens sapiens, give life through the womb of a woman. So I hope that makes sense to you. who personifies the sky livable atmosphere. She is usually depicted as a woman bearing her own head vase in water with a Netcher phonetic nut. She sometimes wears a headdress of a horn and a disc and a net of Netcherew. Holds the papyrus scepter of one hand and a ankh emblem in the life in the other. She is shown as a woman spangled with stars, arched over the over the husband Gib. This is Gib at the bottom. Gib represents the earth. He represents solid. He represents matter. And then you have her dad right here. You have Shu, who represents wind. And he is separating the earth, or he is separating the earth and the heavens, or he is separating the spiritual world from the physical world. She was expected to supply the dead with food and drinks because she was also a protector, often portrayed as the inner side of the coffin lids, where she could closely surprise what happened to the dead persons of the dead. Nude is depicted in several forms, but often a naked woman arched over depicted as a sky in act of swallowing the evening sun and the earth birth to the morning sun. So again, those that understand that that who reads the Netherworld books. So when you get some of the books, like again, like the book of the book of the heavenly cows, the book of day and night, the book of Acre, the book of Soker, and so forth. Those are the Netherworld books. Gib, and I'm about through, family. Peace, Carter Brad. Gib, the earth, like I explained, I showed you Gib on the last slide. He was being separated by Shu, the wind. So you had his consort on top was the sky, which was Nut, and then you had the earth on the bottom. So the earth, the Neb, earth is the source of terrestrial authority. Gib is the member of Kimnu, which is the member of the 8 of Anu. Shu is Tefnut. Shu and Tefnut are his parents. His mate, sister energy, Nut gives, and Nut gives birth to 5 children who represents the 5 days above Usir. So you keep hearing me talking about these 5 children, these 5 stages of creation, but this is only one stage of creation, which we're going to talk about on Sunday on my YouTube channel with Asar M. Makar, with these different creation stories of the different cosmology. We're going to talk about all 4 that's dealing with these forces of nature, these Netcherews. All right. Gib represents the material / physical aspect of the universe. He is depicted as a man bearing a goose head. The representation is the source of the world notion about a goose that lays an egg from which the world was hatched. In human terms, he represents the physical aspect. Shu, and I got 2 more slides. The Netcher of the air, he is depicted as the air. So again, Shu is a force of nature. So our ancestors talked about the forces of nature, so they explained it in our allegory story. So there's no such thing as a man walking the face of the earth. Shu is the wind, is the air. So they're talking about the elements in nature, the boundless space, the breath of the Netcher. Shu is very old, the Netcherew, along his twin sister Tefnut. They were the first couple in the Kimnu of the 9, a group of Netchers worship in Anu. Shu means he who holds up. Shu separates the sky, Nut, as I explained in the picture a while ago, from the earth. And Ra requests so that the light and the space was created as well as the heavens above the earth below. Maintain the vision as his uprise. Peace, Cicero. I hope I'm saying your name right. Shu also portrayed as a bearded male form wearing a feather, which is the ostrich feather, the Ma'at feather. He is standing with a scepter in his hand and the ankh in the up. And we know that the scepter represents power, and we know that the ankh represents eternal life. Everybody on this panel should know that. Tefnut. This is Tefnut here. This is a piece of the papyrus. And ain't nobody got to tell me this is Tefnut. I didn't have to Google and see if this was Tefnut. All I had to do was look, split them from his mouth, and said that right. Yeah, Atum. This is where you get the word spitting image from. But Tefnut, we see the half a bread loaf. We see the horn viper, which is the T. The horn viper is the F. We see the bowl, which is a biliteral, which represents NW, and then we see the T. So we get Tefnut. So I know how to read it, so I don't have to go and ask somebody or Google something. I knew when I took copied and pasted this picture, I knew this was Tefnut in the papyrus right here. Tefnut, the twin of Shu, her father Netcher, Ra Atum. She is the Netcher of water and moisture in the form of dew and rain. So it's raining outside now. So I see Tefnut right now. It is real moisture outside, and it's raining outside. So she represents water. So she's not a corporal being, a woman with a lion's head and a sun disk that ever walked the face of the earth. We're talking about principles, the forces in nature that was explained in allegoric story for people of things that we see on a day-to-day basis. Shu, Tefnut, to complement each other, cannot exist separately. And as an eye of Ra, she appears lioness head. Shu can also take lioness forms, and the couple were worshipped as a pair of lioness in the Delta. Haru. Everybody should know who Haru is. Haru, the Netcher Haru, appears as a falcon. Here's one. Or a falcon-headed man here. Or a sun disk with a falcon wings. Haru means which is up, one who is up, or he who is above, or all that which is above. Up, symbolic of heaven, that which is righteous. Haru is the embolic. So when you reach that Haru manifestation, we're talking about righteousness. Haru is the embodiment of what we call royalty or divine rulership in Kemet. Each Nasut, which means king, of the ancient Kemet was embodied in Haru, and a lot of the kings, they have different names. The kings had a Nasut Biti name. They had a Nasut Biti name. They had a Sarah name. They had a Golden Haru name. They had a Haru name, and they had the two ladies' names. So they had 5 different names, royalty names, and 2 of their names was Haru, or was a Haru name, and the Golden Haru name. In the human terms, Haru represents our goals, our mottos, what we look up to. So is what we look, Haru is a personification of what we look up to. Haru is our goals, our models, our aspirations. This is the last slide. Noon. And I ain't gonna even go, we're gonna go in. Me and Sai gonna go in on, we're gonna go in on all these, because a lot of these is demarcations or stages of creation. So we're gonna go in on that Sunday. Dang it, I done messed up my slide here, but Noon personified the premier waters, out of which emerged the creator, Netcher. Noon is the double darkness, that which allows the Netcher to, and see, I done messed up my slide, man, and I should have went back and just been late, into being before creation of Ma'at, the consort of Noon and Nunet, and there are the creator divinities in the Agdar. So those that understand the creation, we know things came out of this premortal waters. Even with those that deal with the Western religion, it talks about the premortal waters. You see, it talks about the premortal waters. It talks about things coming out, the things coming out of certain things, and we see this here. We see waves and certain things, but we'll get into that, which is the Agdar cosmology, and that's one of the 4 cosmologies. So we'll get in. We'll talk about Nun, Nunet, Amen, Amenet, Huhet, Heka, Heka, Et. So those are the different Netchers, which I didn't go into. So what have we learned, family? Hold on. Also, water, birth. Yeah, water is about birth. Do the image also represents animal spirits that were given to them as Indians did, as they were certain animals upon their head? I kind of talked about that a while ago. I may go back into it real quick, but I kind of been on for a long time. So what have we learned, family? We have learned that the Netcherews are expressions of the cosmic energies, and each Netcherew represents principles of nature and the unfolding creation. The Netcherews presides over all forms and functions of energies of laws. Before I read here, so again, I hope this is clearing up some of the information for those that are starting to reach back and adapt to their African traditions and their African culture. A lot of misconceptions are out there that our ancestors worship many gods or worship many deities when that was incorrect. So I did this presentation so people can understand that when they was these certain things that our ancestors were talking about, they was actually talking about the characteristics that dwell within inside of us. They was talking about the forces of nature and the forces of the universe. So they was talking about these things in an allegory story, so we could understand, because if they started talking about certain things, they might not understand it. So if they talked about it with things that they seen on an everyday basis, we see the trees, we see the forest, we see human beings, we see animals, we see the sun, we see the stars, we see the sky, and etc., and etc. So they built allegory stories around the forces of nature, the forces of universes, and the characteristic that dwells within inside of us. The master teacher, Infodisi Jahuti, says the Netcher is which we perceive, and also perceive. It is also the perceived and the perceiver. Therefore, only the Netcher exists. Nature does not the nature, not entity from the Netcher. It's I'm messing that up. The Netcher is nature, the soul of all things, including man. And separating from nature, we are Netcher. We are spiritual beings living a human experience. So basically what the master teacher is saying is what I've been doing through all my presentation and saying, that we are all a part of nature, but we have been taught that we separate ourselves from nature. We separate ourselves from the creator, and we separate ourselves from nature through the indoctrination of what we have been taught, when the creator in us is one and the same. When we talk about this innate energy that dwells within us, when we talk about everything that exists has energy, whether it's animated or inanimated energy. So, and as far as him talking about we are spiritual beings living a human experience, where do your spirit comes from? When it tells you your physical self, this body goes back into the ground, and it says your spirit goes back from whence it came. It said from whence, so it means it came from somewhere. So your spirit came from somewhere. Some of us call it the heavens, some of us call it the duat, some of us call it the Oran or the Ikule Oran. It goes by, some of us call it the invisible realm. So it goes by many names. So your spirit came from somewhere. So when he said we are spiritual beings living a human experience, that is a fact. These are my this here is the cosmologies that I'm gonna be talking about on my YouTube channel, and I'm not gonna go through it, but there are 4 different cosmologies that's dealing with the forces of nature, or these Netchers, or these Netcherews that I was talking about. And these are the trinities. We talk about Asa, Aset, and a Haru, but there were other trinities in North Africa as well, even though we know the true trinity is the male, the female, and the child. You can't have 3 trinities. You can't have all masculine principles, because again, the masculine principle cannot exist without the feminine principle. So you have Atum, Shu, and Tefnut, and I'm gonna tell you what region it is when you when y'all subscribe to Kofi Paisai TV, and y'all come on and log in and join us live this Sunday with Asai Imakar. We're gonna go in Amen, Mut, and Konsu, Ptah, Sekhem, and Nefertim. So those are some of the other trinities, because a lot of us, we always talk about Asa, Aset, and Haru. And here is the matching of what the Greeks took from us and gave in different names. You got Haru, Apollo for the Greek. Satesh, you got Typhoon. Aset, you got Demeter. In Romans, you got Ceres. Neat, you got Athena. Roman, you got Minerva. That's why we say amen, Western prayer, Amen Mut Konsu. A lot of people, again, that use the word amen at the end. We know that the people that prescribe to the Abrahamic faith of the three organized Western religions, such as Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, they, at the end of their prayers, they say amen. But when you do the research on the word amen, which I just gave a while ago, amen, amen, amun, you understand that it is a principle that comes from out of Africa. It is a African principle that comes from out of Africa. And amen, amun, amen, it means the hidden one. We have not seen a creator. The creator is hidden. But we can see the creator through his different manifestations, hence nature. Because the creator is the creator is nature. The creator is human beings. The creator is the stars. He, it, she is every and all things that exist in every and all things. Again, energy innate in it and everything. I'm sitting in a chair. The chair is energy. The chair is unanimated energy, meaning that the chair is made out of the same particles, made out of the same periodic table that I'm made out of. The only thing it is that the table, this chair does not move unless I move it. But I am animated energy. So you got Neith, Athena, you got men, you got you got Ammon, you got, then you, this is where Zeus comes from. You got Jupiter, then you got base, then you got the Greeks, so they copy and so forth. I started to put some other names on here too with some copies, but you know, I just didn't want to get too, because I know how some of our black family are, and I know how I don't want to offend anybody. Even when you bringing out information and stuff, sometimes people will take things offensive. So I didn't put a lot of stuff on here that the people took, even though we know that we're practicing a culture that has nothing to do with us when we understand history. And that's the most important thing. Once we understand history, understand historical data, once we understand science, once we understand those types of things, then we won't fall up under belief anymore. We will want facts, proof, and evidence. These are other Netcherews that you can look up, and I'm finna get ready to get off here, family, because I've been on too long. But these, I didn't go through all those principles, those characteristics, those forces of nature, the forces of the universe. These are some of the other Netcherews that you can look up. You can look these Netcherews up, because I didn't want to add them into them, because the presentation was already too long. I didn't think it was going to be this long. This is the Netcher flag. Again, I talk about the flag that our ancestors talked about with the standard pole that's dealing with the Netcher. These are my sources here. Nile Valley Contribution of the Civilization by Anthony Broder, The Egyptian Divinity, All Who Are the Ones by Mustafa Gadal, Second Cosmology, The Animated Universe, second edition by Mustafa Gadala. If I'm saying his name right, Spiritual Warriors Are Healers by Mfadishi Jehudi Ka Haru Hassun K. Saloon. Concepts of God in Ancient Egypt, The Ones of Many by Eric Conan, and an article, Ancient Near East or dealing with Egypt, with the Egyptians. So these are my sources right here, because again, I'm not going to get up here and put out information and not give you the sources. And please go through, get these, and most of these are books, and these are books that I have already read. I own. So get the books, click on to the article, read these books, do the research for yourself. You see what I'm saying? Do the research for yourself. Don't believe what Kofi Paisai is saying. Don't believe what Brother Kofi Paisai is saying, because again, we tend, black people, and I'm talking about us, we tend to fall and listen to whatever, long as somebody is speaking with such rhetoric, proper rhetoric, long as people speaking like they're intelligent, long as they say they are man of God, then we begin to utter off of every word that these individuals is saying and not going to do the research on our own. we begin to parakeet what other individuals is saying and not going to do diligence of researching to verify what these people is saying to actually be true or false. This is why we have a lot of people in our community say, this is what my pastor said. This is what my pastor said. But then when you ask the individual, what do you say? They can't talk for themselves. They always letting another individual talk. So did you go back and verify what this individual is saying? Did you go back and read certain things? Did you go outside the book? Did you study certain things here? Did you go into the proper language? Because we know when we translate and transliterate things, you use the proper context of what certain things mean. Did you understand what culture that created this text? What type of culture was this? What's they practicing? Did these people look like you that wrote these certain books? So it's just a lot of things that we just have to do. So just don't take Kofi Price our word for it. So these are my sources. Vent through my sources. Go through the sources, scrutinize the sources, and then if you disagree with what I'm saying, then you come back and you present something to the people, and you have your sources up here, and and we'll do it like that. And on that note, I'm gonna play my video again. For those that look at the video, this is my introduction video, which is, I love this video, which is done by I Am My Brother's Keeper, who also will be on my YouTube channel, hopefully this week. So go and subscribe to Kofi Paisai TV. It's in the link. So go subscribe to my channel, Kofi Paisai TV. It's plenty of context. It's plenty. I have about 12 PowerPoints on there right now, and I have about 5 reading and sharing where I pick books and I read some stuff in the books, and then we elaborate. Peace, Melissa Brown. Peace, Bro Willie. I try to speak to everybody that comes on to the live feed. Peace, Johnny Anderson Henry Jr. Subscribe to the channel. It's a bunch of content. Check out the content on the channel. Again, it's Kofi Paisai TV. Subscribe, hit the bell, so every time I upload something or I go live from the channel, from my YouTube channel, because I'm not going to be going live all the time from Facebook, you can catch the presentations from there. Kofi Paisai TV, that's the name of it. This is the introduction video to my YouTube channel. It's a powerful video, so check out the video. As I get out of here, I want to say ETM Hotep Abet E, which means depart in peace, my family. I want to say Igungun Kiki Igungun Majube Iba E, which I give honor and praises to the ancestors, because again, we wouldn't be here without our ancestors. So we should always revere and honor our ancestors and give them their just due. So Shem Hotep, and check out the video as I go out. Mr. Iron Lungs, I know it, bro. I know it, man.
Man in the full knowledge of himself is a superb and supreme creature of creation. When man becomes possessor over the knowledge of himself, he becomes master of his environment, and captain of his own ship, the director of his own destiny, the accomplisher of his own ends. Man should understand himself because man is full of knowledge, and this knowledge is a gift of nature. When Mother Nature created man, she deprived him of nothing. He was given the faculty of understanding all things around him. This faculty for understanding has not been taken away from him. None of his senses have been taken away from him. So there is no excuse for the black man. I'm bridging my team, red, black, and green, queens and kings, salute, now scream, I should bring purple underhanded, I should find purple different. I'm ripping my team, red, black, and green, queens and kings, salute, now scream, I should bring purple underhanded, I should find purple different.